Today we're taking this material and turning it into this and a few other styles of dresses and skirts. So this is the prototype I've been working on, and we're going to call this series Persephone in Chains. So one thing you guys might not know about me is I am a fashion designer, and I have been working on a prototype for a DIY project that you can do at home by yourself. So here it is. This is me just trying on the material to see how I like the fit of it, the length of it, the overall look I'm looking for. And this is just how I try on my clothes and my material, my fabric, when I first start going into making it. This is me sewing it. I am very lucky and very grateful that I have a Juki, which is an industrial sewing machine, but you can honestly use a domestic sewing machine that you can get anywhere. This is me ironing down and pressing down the seams, and I'm going to be talking more about how I did the seams to make it super easy. So first part of the prototype, this is a shorter rectangle, and I basically just flipped the seam so that it had a gap on the inside to put the string or chain through the top. I did it around that waist part, and I also did it around the sides, but right now I just have the first part in, which is this rope part. And like I said, you can put literally anything in. You can even do an elastic. I did the rope just to kind of give it a bit more of a style, a different type of style to it. It looks something a little bit funky, I guess, instead of just elastic. But if you want to go into something a bit more practical, I would highly suggest doing an elastic band. And you're going to see later why I did the different, this is me awkwardly dancing, why I did the different strings inside. So this is another way that you can wrap this kind of rectangle skirt. And I just kind of overlapped it on the top of each other. You can create a cute little knot, a cute little bow, and this is just going to give me a little extra coverage and kind of hold it together. And this is a very long piece of string that I used to tie it up around, and this is exactly the kind of style that I was going for. Something a little bit different that can go from a basic material into something a little bit more stylish. I'm very excited about this skirt, if you can't tell. You can pick a string that's either thicker or that looks a little bit different to give you more of an idea. Now overall, I don't like this fabric with this final look. It's a very comfortable, soft material. I do find it looks a little PJ-ish, but it's a great starting material to work with. I found this material at Value Village for $5, and I was able to get a skirt, a dress, and a pair of pants out of this entire material. So in this part of the skirt, I am adding in the 2 other strings. There's 3 strings in total in the seams, and the way you scrunch it up, you can make it shorter and adjust it so it gives you a different. I have the 2 strings going down that slit, and I was able to scrunch up the skirt to make it shorter. And I like the texture and the draping around the hip. I have a very straight, narrow body, so this gives it the effect of curves. And I like that it has this kind of petal look to it. The other thing that you can do is move the slit to the side like I do here. And you can see all the waist strings and the slit strings kind of all together, and it gives you a little bit more of a stringy look. And this is me just trying out the string a few different ways to give it a different look and to hold the skirt in place better. I'm just playing around with it. And I highly suggest that don't get frustrated. Spend some time getting to know your body and the material and the way you like it to look on you. So play around with it for a little bit. And this is the skirt with that kind of side slit look. And now we're going to be going into the dress options. So for coverage purposes, I am wearing sweatpants under this. I was wearing boxers in the other one, and this is that top waist. Now this rectangle piece, this fabric piece is a lot longer. So the the waist string actually goes all the way around And I do have some on the side as well, just to give me a little bit more pull and a different bit of a look to it. This is the part around the neck. I'm very excited because I did not expect this in my planning, and it was like a happy accident. So I have the string there, and there I'm thinking about either putting boob tape or possibly putting in some sort of stitch, a string stitch, to grab the rope so my boob doesn't fall out, basically is what I'm saying. And that's what the back looks like. And then the front has that kind of draping look to it. And this is just me draping it a little bit lower, so I have a bit more of a lower back. And you can lift the waist by tightening the string and tightening the material along that waistline. So that's one long open seam that I have put the string all the way through. And you can adjust the lowness of the back depending on how the string is. Now this is me playing around with the string a little bit. Like I said, this first prototype, I wanted to leave this here as more of a blooper and to show you guys how to make mistakes, and the mistakes can actually be a happy accident. And just to kind of give you a heads up of what happens when you have really long string. This is me having it a little bit more under control, and I'm wrapping it up around my waist to kind of accentuate the waist. And I'm adjusting that kind of slit string on the sides. I'm adjusting that string so that I can have a bit of a different length, and I can have a bit more of a different texture. Now you'll see me pulling on the string, and you can see how the fabric tightens. So that's how I'm lowering the back, having it more open and having it a little bit lower versus lifting up that waist and lifting up that back part. And you can see how it's giving me a lot of texture, and I really like this type of draping, mostly again because it gives you a bit of that kind of curvy look. I also like it because it's not very fitted to the body, so it kind of hides certain flaws, and it is actually really comfortable. So this is one thing I would suggest. When you have a length that you want in the string, tie a knot so that it all stays together and so that the fabric doesn't start kind of pulling apart and falling off of the string and loosening where you don't want it. This I love. This is probably, yeah. So this I would add the boob tape or just add a little bit of a string loop and wrap the string around that and pull it tight so it doesn't fall off the chest. So it keeps that coverage. And I love this look. It's very, like, this is all one single piece of fabric with just string going through it. And I love this part because it looks kind of like a flower. Now this part here, I wrapped it up a little bit differently. I wanted to give it a little bit more room and fluffier fabric, just add more fabric and texture to the waist and stomach part. And this is something you can play around with depending on how you want the look. If you are a little bit more on the curvy side, there's a chance this might make you look bigger, in which case I would adjust it and not necessarily have this look. But if you're like me and you have a very boyish narrow body, then having this amount of material around your hips will actually accentuate them and make them look a little bit bigger. And this is me just taking that kind of material that was bigger and making it smaller, shrinking it down so that it's not so big around my body and it doesn't look that big. Now this is the one shoulder option. You always got to check the glutes. You always got to make sure that the ladies stay in place. So this is just that final look, and this is one of my favorite pieces that I have done so far, and I will be definitely repeating this type of prototype in different material, so stay tuned. I hope you like it.